So the last invited poet of the evening is Brian Campbell. Brian's latest collection, Shimmer Report, is forthcoming in the fall of this year with Ecstasis Editions. He's also author of A Private Collection, published by Sky of Ink Press in 2014, Passenger Flight, published by Signature Editions in 2009, Guatemala and Other Poems, and Undressing the Night, his translation of the selected poems of Nicaraguan-Canadian poet Francisco Santos. His poetry has appeared in such journals as The New Quarterly, the Antigonish Review, the Saranac Review, and the Evergreen Review. His translations of poetry from French and Spanish have been published in Carte Blanche and Rupture, and his book reviews in Rover and the Montreal Review of Books. A finalist for the 2006 CBC Literary Award for Poetry, he is co-founder and editor of Sky of Ink Press, which prints quality chapbooks by emerging writers. Also a singer-songwriter, his independent music CD, The Courtier's Manuscript, was released in 2002. He lives in Montreal, and you can visit his website at www.briancampbell.ca. Brian Campbell.
Thanks to Flavia for inviting me, and it's a great new venue, right? Right. So these are poems from the upcoming collection. Just a few sampling. The themes in this collection are rather personal, intensely personal, in fact. It's about the travails and affirmations of the love between myself and my wife Jocelyn, who's a survivor of the psychiatric system and a published author in her own right. And other things like negotiating one's way through two languages and two cultures, struggles with inhibition, aging, nature, mortality. Of course, we all write about mortality. Life is a killer. So, okay, here we go. Touch. You teach me fondle of instep, caress of toes, repose of hands on shoulders, arms. Where I'm from, people sit apart, incline heads from discrete and separate chairs. Arches shore up, toes spring, fingers point, grab, summon, or push back. So I learn willingly, fondle of instep, caress of toes, repose of hands on shoulders, arms. This is a poem about living in a small apartment with flat paper walls. Cell. Above us, an old woman with a heavy step that makes the floorboards crack and groan. That she's nervous, we can tell, pacing down and up. Dilemma, perhaps? Then a lone moan, a retch, followed by toilet flush. The man below us has been idle, very hush-hush. He stares between his blinds, watches us come and go. The other day we saw him on his porch, gazing at our recyclables. Old drafts in transparent bags, hand on chin. He talked to a neighbor, pointed as we climbed a stair. On one side, Saturday nights, the stereo pounds. We hear them laugh, break glasses, make whooping sounds. The other side, strangely silent. Our own conversations escape, our songs, cries, moans, ill or well. These walls, ceiling, floor, breathing membranes, they are our living cell. Trois Mois Café. There's a cafe on Laurier called Trois Mois Café. A cafe. steamy plate glass windows all around, everything swathed in satiny gauze, people, tables, coffee cups, keyboard, screen, translucent silhouettes. You stare at handwritten pages, crossing out words, writing above them, then crossing out new words, writing above those. Pause, raise your head. I've got to get out of here. Is it me? Just me, nothing to do with you. City, sodden gray mop in freezing rain. Blur of sidewalks, pavement, cars. Your hand, heart-racing sparrow's ribcage in my hands. You look at me in the eyes. If I'm ever a burden to you, talk about it with me before anyone else. I write this alone in another cafe. Today's incarceration. May it be just for today. Light, palette, grace note. These two are you. I reach for the switch to turn the screen black. Through our ills. You too had it, the long hours in sickbed, the leaden limbs, oppressive fog in the brain. Part of you comforted nothing could be done, part of you in panic. Is this all there is? In a separate bed, miles away, silent, body clenched, I stared into darkness till the walls closed in. Into worlds of white sheets and pillowcases, your journey took you. Stark walls, shackles, isolation rooms. Cool, professional, the caregivers administered medications, checked out, went home to families and television. Sedated, benumbed, yet you remained sentinel, noting shifts, tough commands of hardened orderlies, cameras in the ceiling that followed every step. In my own school shift, I wore a scrutiny-saving face, then passed sleepless evenings wandering streets, leaning peaked roofs, bleeding clouds, passers-by with cowled faces, bloodshot eyes. Now I rest beside you. A car goes by, motor hum fading in blackness. Someone slams a screen door. You turn, sigh in your sleep, rest your thigh against mine. Time to rest. Time. And on a cheerier note, it's called Vase, but buying flowers. I held them aloft as I walked the street. Let breezes breathe through their petals and stems. They breathe through them still here in this vase. I brought them for you, and for me, Mew. Yes, even she, who nuzzles them now, strands them with fur, glitters them with sapphire eyes. Parlons français. This is a poem I can only read and be appreciated here, I think. It's a bilingual poem. Tu vas écrire un poème ce soir, sur ce soir, you say. This evening, dans le chalet du lac, the cottage by the lake. This evening you choose to be French for a change. I like wine, you might never say, mais j'aime le vin, comes so naturally. With a turn of your wrist, a petulant shrug, c'est fait. The cork is pulled, the bottle tipped. C'est ça, la vérité, indisputable aussi, in a husky voice. J'aime faire l'amour avec toi. So much more élan vital than I like to make love with you. Who is la vraie personne de ces deux? Two women, one body, ça fait un ménage à trois, peut-être quatre, with my heavy accent. English, it's good for housework, you tell me. Instructions, put this up, pull this in, fold this up, out, open. Can you wash the hands? Can you wash the dishes, please? Your hands stay by your sides as you say this. Mais le français, your fingers dance, your eyes roll, ça réchauffe la gorge, les gestes tu dis. And you become another, tellement plus zesty, c'est ça, c'est tout. that in Toronto, everybody would just stare at me. Okay. Sylph. Arms parting path through high glass, blue anemones, daughters of the wind. Handheld candle, whispers caress. Sun next morning following through the window, bouncing off the clock, glimmering through the room. All these today, brought by your smile. The final poem here, after a very difficult February. This February, in fact. After turmoil. After turmoil of February darkness, where every day threatens suicide, at last a break in the cold wind. We go out in light jackets into sun, among puddles and mounds of melting gray, bare hand holding bare hand, among the sidewalk crowd, singled, coupled, equally bewildered. Find an address, go upstairs where Aphrodite, a thérapeute, directs us down stucco halls to a round room. There we float an hour on warm salt water among palm fronds, streaming harmonies, a lethe of flutes and pianos. Had I been a baby or had cancer, would you have felt us taken hostage? Lack of empathy, it's all part of the stigma. Jocelyn, terror doesn't leave much room for empathy, and that was terror. Let's discuss it later, you say wisely. Later, I buy you a necklace of twining silver grapes made by an artisan d'ici. We find a coiffeuse who expertly shapes your thinning hair. We eat in a French bistro, gaze out at passing strangers, raise glasses to our hopes, to survival. Thank you.